Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's another hump day, and it is a doozy. As I said in my comments, it's a doozy. The first hump day happy chat post-election 2020. How's it going out there, people? I'm Valerie Shepard, and I am in the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. We're going to have a little bit of a chat to help fortify you for whatever's coming next. And this is not about politics. This is about how do you do this thing called self-mastery. Self-mastery meaning like totally managing yourself so that you can exquisitely master you and all that you are and all that you're being and all that you desire, all that you have to contribute, so that you can exquisitely manage whatever life brings your way. And sometimes, we've talked about this on the Happy Chat before, sometimes we may perceive that life is throwing us a curveball. And so whatever side of the political spectrum you're on, you may be waking up this morning and so far, since there isn't a concrete outcome, good morning, thanks for joining me. There's not necessarily a concrete outcome. Maybe it's not the outcome that you wanted. Maybe there are all kinds of things coming up within you. I know there are in me, going on within you that are difficult to manage right now. And that's okay. It's like we don't need to go through life expecting that every moment is going to satisfy our every need at that moment, and believing that if our needs aren't satisfied in that moment, that all's wrong. What's wrong with the world? There are some dynamics here that are potentially signaling some issues, and that's something to deal with as we go forward. But today's title, this came to me this morning as I was brushing my chiclets, as my sister girlfriend Elizabeth would say, my chiclets. As I was brushing my chiclets, it came to me like this, for a lot of people, this is an oh my God moment. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's a giant OMG moment. And yes, it is. It's a dynamic time in our world. We're in the midst, and we have been for a while because early voting started so long ago. We're in the midst of this thing called a free and fair election. And I loved looking up, like, what does that really mean? Like, what does free and fair election mean? And so I found this on the USAID.gov site. The most fundamental principle defining credible elections is that they must reflect the free expression of the will of the people. To achieve this, elections should be transparent, inclusive, and accountable. And there must be equitable opportunities to compete. So we're in the midst of that. Whatever end of the spectrum you're on, that's going on right now. And we don't know how long it's going to go on. So if you're in a space right now where you're going, oh my God, and I know that there's an aspect of me that is totally there. Hi, Rachel. Thank you for being here. There's an aspect of me that is totally there. Like, there were times last night when I really, like, my heart hurt. By the time I went to bed, I was a little bit aghast. And we don't need to go into all that. But each of us has a responsibility to kind of maintaining center. Like, believe it or not, when you think about the energetic dynamics of this multiverse in which we live, like energy fields, right? So our energy contributes to the energy of the collective. Now, we can't necessarily manage the energy of the collective, so what's ours to contribute? What can we do when the collective is certainly you and 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 me? So what can I do? And so right now, as we're looking at the things unfolding, and this is not just true for today, this is true all the time. Like your life is always going to be bringing you opportunities to master this ability. To master this ability to see and be in a situation that ain't exactly what you want. And nonetheless, that's where you are. So whether that's a breakup that is not what you wanted in a relationship, whether that's a no when you really wanted a yes, whether that's a yes when you wanted a no, whether that's a diagnosis that you don't know what to do with and feels very scary, whether that's an ending, whatever that is at any time in your life. I call them curveballs. Like life has curveballs. So how do I manage the curveball, and what is mine to be the OMG moment that may just present itself to you at any time that you have something to do with? And so I talk about the inside out aspects of life, and that the external aspects, the things that we find ourselves in the midst of that are of not necessarily any doing of our own. Like those are always going to be the case. They're always going to be the case. We're operating inside a system, and there are lots of things going on. So how can I be in a system when I'm having an OMG moment? Like what's mine to do to contribute to the health and vitality of that system? What's mine to do to stay in the health and vitality of me? Good morning, I see you there. Type in who you are so I can say hi to you specifically. I already see Rachel. Who else is here? So in these moments, the kinds of things that I always advocate for, that I always coach for, in just my own, like how do I do this, right? Well, number one is to remain calm. Like I always talk about breathing. Like how can I take what's going on up here, like the anger, the frustration, the fear. Like for me, it's fear right now. Fear is an intellectual idea, believe it or not. It's going to be felt emotionally, but it's usually this algorithm or this math equation of what we want versus what we don't, what we know how to handle versus what we don't know how to handle, and what might be involved in there. And I'm not talking about fear when there's danger. That's a different subject. When there's danger, listen to the fear and get out of there. I'm talking about emotional fear, where our minds can run away with us. I call it conjuring, projecting into the future all the horrible things that are about to happen that are actually coming from me. I'm coming up with that stuff. So part of the steps of what is mine to do when it looks like the world's going to hell in a handbasket, I wonder where that phrase came from. I have to look that up. Hell in a handbasket. Like when it looks like that's what's happening, staying calm gives you an opportunity to get control over what is the way that you're going to contribute to what comes next. Like having that level of conscious and conscientious choice about how you contribute to the situation exactly as it is. And then from there, how do you potentially change it? And not every situation is changeable by you, by me. When situations involve other people, they have choice. They get to make choices for how they want to be and who they want to be and how they want to do it. Okay, so remaining calm gives us an opportunity to kind of survey, to notice what's going on, to notice what's coming up in here. Where is my fear coming from? Where is my anger? Where's my anguish? Where's my pain? Where's my excitement? Where's my joy? Like in the oh my God moments, to kind of get real mastery of the instrument that you are. I always also talk about there's a place for self-care. Like right now, there are probably people who didn't get very much sleep, who have been negative conjuring over what comes next. And self-care is very important. Guess what? Sleep is. I'm kind of tired right now. I stayed up much later than I normally do, and I woke up much earlier than I normally do. So my amount of sleep was truncated in between those two actions. And so for me today, self-care is going to be very important. Listening to the inner voice of my body telling me, take a break, take a walk, drink some water, take extra vitamins, whatever those things are where I can fortify myself for what's to come, for what is present right this moment and what's to come. Interestingly, in an OMG moment, it's not that easy to do, like to discern what's being called for, how I'm being called into action when I'm tired, when I'm debilitated. So that's another one, self-care. And then I have been talking a lot lately about this concept called compassionate activism. Compassionate activism. And you may have heard this. I've seen it referred to as engaged spirituality. I've seen it referred to as sacred activism. It's basically pretty simple. How we individually and collectively contribute to what comes next. And I read a couple of sources on this. One of them said, and I quote, how we collectively and individually, quote, take our finer tuned mindfulness, our spiritual power, even our righteous indignation, and maybe deeper empathy, right? Deeper empathy. And take concrete action. So compassionate activism doesn't mean we just let everything stay the way it is. It means that we have a higher consciousness, a higher vantage point. We engage that, the mindfulness, through prayer, through meditation, through all kinds of consciousness raising activities to engage with the situation as it is. So we have to get out of the language of I'm in it, I'm going to fight to the end. It's really not about fight energy. It's not about fight energy. It's about activism energy. So how can I contribute that mind, body, spirit energy of change? Activities, you participate in programs, maybe that raise awareness about social issues. So for me, it's anything having to do with racial equity and social justice. That's where I feel like I'm being called to participate more than ever before. I always believed in those things. I don't know that I was ever as active as a compassionate activist in those things before. And so that's one action. Engaging in local efforts, like participating in something. Pick it, whatever that is for you. Go talk to young children about important aspects of the issue. Volunteer for service in the school. Participate in local government. Get involved in nonprofit organizations that are looking to make changes on the local, regional, national level. Share your expertise. Where could your expertise be plugged in somewhere where it feels like there's a void that would be served by your presence, especially the presence of a compassionate activist? So that means showing up in an energy of collaboration, communication, creativity, and not in the energy of fight and resistance. Like there's a different level of energy that could be being called for at this moment. And then how can you cooperate and collaborate with others who are working in all different avenues of the dynamics that you see that are not what you want and that you would like to have a hand in changing? So that's it. In the OMG moments, those are the moments calling to your self-mastery to hold your center. And right now, as things are, and it may take a long time for things to be, quote unquote, sorted out in what's going on with the election, or sorted out in whatever you're waiting for to be resolved so that you can get on with the business of being happy. And what I would say to you Yes, this is a hump day happy chat, is that it's not an either or game. Like, your happiness shouldn't be put on hold because of the dynamics that you're dealing with that don't feel like they're what you want. It's absolutely appropriate to recognize this ain't what I want. I didn't sign up for this. What happened? Like, this doesn't make sense. It's not it's not the stuff that my joy would be made of. And recognizing that other people's joy is completely in the current moment, and allowing that, trusting that the dynamic has a higher and deeper level associated with it that's going to play out. And so in my life, when I think about this compassionate activism and keeping my happy in the OMG moments, how do I keep my happy? So number one, and I go to this point a lot in the Hump Day Happy Chat, it's going to always be about taking responsibility for my own stuff. So it's taking responsibility for my own understanding. For, in this particular situation, a fact-based assessment of really what is really going on and how it impacts me and those I am most concerned about in our collective known as a society. So taking responsibility, not leaving it up to other people to tell me what's really going on or for me to understand the dynamics, but to actually go find out for myself, take responsibility. I love this Arthur Ashe quote. It's perfect for a time like this. All the oh my God moments. Start where you are. So that's present moment awareness. Start where you are. What's going on in the present moment. That's real. That can't be changed necessarily in this one moment. It's there. It's real. Start where you are. Use what you have. And for this, using all of your faculties. So your human and your spiritual faculties. So what's going on within you? What's your discernment? What's your intuitive aspect saying to you? As well as all the external opportunities. What's available to you from elsewhere. Good morning. Thank you for joining. And then lastly, do what you can. Do what you can. No one of us can do everything. But we do each have an opportunity to do what we can. And this is on any level, in anything in your life. This quote is really powerful. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, and make that good enough. Make that good enough. And then build on that for the next moment. And then the last thing I would say today, gratitude is one of the highest vibrations on the planet. I think it's only in the bodies of work that I study, it is only surpassed by unconditional love. And we certainly need a lot more of that in the world today. And in these OMG moments, it's really important for you to get into the juicy goodness of your gratitude. Like, it may be important to write them down so you can remember. And even if you have to hunt for them, you know, I remember when I first woke up after my stroke, it was like, what exactly am I grateful for? Well, I was grateful to wake up. And there was a lot of stuff going on that I was like, OMG. And it was hard. I will not pretend. And sometimes even today, relative to that experience in my life, it is hard still. But it doesn't stay hard for too long, because even in the midst of darkness, there is still light. You just have to take responsibility to bring that light very prevalently and present to yourself in your own experience. Stay grateful. Stay light and easygoing. In the light and easygoing, you're more flexible. Life feels much more good. And you have a lot more kind of bubbly space from which to move into the next space. So now it's your turn. You can ask. So what, in this OMG moment, how How am I going to bring the wherewithal of this masterful instrument into engagement with what's going on? And remember that it's always positive to anchor in peace, love, joy, and gratitude, and to bring that energy as you into every situation. So that's it for the first Hump Day Happy Chat post-election 2020. Thank you so much for joining me. Please share. I bet you there are a lot of people who could use a little boost in whatever they're dealing with today. I always close with the metta prayer. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. And there are no political parties in your true nature. Your true nature is the spiritual aspect of you. It's the capital M-E in the title of my book. The magnificent essence of you couldn't care less about those mundane things. So may you awaken to the light of your true nature and bring that forth into your life and into this planet. We need that, you. And may all beings be free. That's it. I'm Valerie Shepard. Thank you for joining, watching, sharing, commenting. Many blessings. Have a fabulous Hump Day. Bye now.